Welcome to Strip Cover Lit, where we squeeze the bigger picture out of literature. I'm Adrian Fort, and we're here for another poetry discussion. I've got this new fandangled setup here, so I hope you appreciate it. Even though beautiful me is in the beautiful corner. Look, before we get into things, we are here with poetry discussions every Monday. We've got poetry on Mondays, and on Mondays, we have poetry, but I would really appreciate you if you went to the description below and you clicked on the link to my personal channel. I've been doing videos there once a week. I'm hoping to do videos more than once a week. I do not poetry discussions. I do philosophy discussions. I do discussions on quotes, random quotes that I like, doing a little bit of goal setting type stuff over there. So if that is something that you might find yourself interested in, I am going to get more deeply into video essays over there. Today's poem comes to us from Charles Bukowski. And before we get into this, I've got to apologize for something. My neighbor right now is doing his dishes, and our apartments are separated, I don't know, by vellum paper and a thin coat of deodorant. So probably you can hear his dishwasher. And for that, I apologize. But we have work to do. We have a poem from Charles Bukowski. It comes to us by way of his collection, You Get So Alone at Times That It Just Makes Sense. That's the name of the collection. Now, it begs the question, what just makes sense? And if you have to ask, I'm afraid you'll never understand. The poem in question, A Good Gang After All. And the poem reads as such. I keep hearing from the old dogs, men who have been riding for decades, poets all. They're still at their typers, writing better than ever past wives and wars and jobs and all the things that happen. Many I disliked for personal and artistic reasons. But what I overlooked was their endurance and their ability to improve. These old dogs living in smoky rooms, pouring the bottle. They lash against the typer ribbons. They came to fight. Now, this is where I want to start this discussion. They lash against the typer ribbons. They came to fight. This gives us an idea, an image of poets that is not what we normally think of when we imagine William Shakespeare, prim and proper. Not what we think of when we think of the sort of professorial poet with the nerdy glasses and whatnot. That is not what we envision when we hear the line, they lash against the typer ribbons. They came to fight. We're getting something nittier and grittier. We're getting something dirtier. We're getting something very robust, I think, right there. And because of that, because of where it ends, I think we've got to go back to where it starts. A good gang all. I keep hearing from the old dogs. There is an idea of community here. After all, if there is no connection to these people, if there is no community with these people, if the communal here is absent, we wouldn't hear from them, would we? Now, especially this is true. Especially this is true if, like later, we understand many I disliked. Under what circumstance do you keep hearing from people that you dislike? You only routinely hear from people you dislike if there is some level of community between you. For example, when your uncle comes to Thanksgiving, you don't like your uncle, kind of a jerk, a little bit of a prick, kind of condescending. He's an uncle, after all. I'm an uncle. I know what it's like. It's my right to condescend. I'm an uncle. It's what we do. But you keep hearing from your uncle because you're family. Family is a form of community. What about the people you work with? That's a type of community. People with whom you work, probably. You don't like all of them if you like any of them. But you hear from them time and again because you have that communal aspect of work. There are things you're counting on each other for. Now, Christopher Hitchens is one of many people, but Christopher Hitchens made many compelling arguments for the fact that being a writer was not what he did. He did not do writing, he was a writer. It was something without which he could not deal. He felt he had to write. For a lot of people, it's this way, especially, I think, in the writing community. We feel we have to write. We feel we have to get these things out because without that release, we build up and we turn over and we crank and we crook and we explode eventually. Now I'm going to read the poem one more time. And I'm going to read the poem and I'm asking you to listen as a writer, whether you're a writer or not. Assume the role herein of writer. I keep hearing from the old dogs, men who have been writing for decades, poets, all. They're still at their typers, writing better than ever, past wives and wars and jobs and all the things that happen. Many I disliked for personal and artistic reasons. But what I overlooked was their endurance and their ability to improve. These old dogs living in smoky rooms pouring the bottle. They lash against the typer ribbons. They came to fight. And they're fighting, aren't they? This community of writers, whether they know how entwined with one another they are or not, whether they appreciate those things or not, they are entwined and they're fighting. But here's what I want to know. What I overlooked was their endurance and ability to improve. Think about that line. These writers are enduring and improving. Endure, damn it. Endure, improve. Endure, improve. But when we reflect what these things are, that they're writing past wives and wars and jobs, do the other people around these old dogs, believe they are improving? Because if we've moved past wives and we're moving past wars, war is military, military is career, and we're moving past jobs, but we're still writing. Many people would see these people, these writers, these old dogs, many in the real world community around them, many surrounding these people, would probably call them losers, wouldn't they? If you walked past Bukowski on the road on your jaunt to work, probably you would think him a loser. Or at least, in the very least, antisocial. These people, these old dogs, are improving through their endurance, their abilities to write past all of these things, wives and careers and jobs, money, all the real stuff in the real world. It is kind of sad, isn't it? Probably you would agree. Someone, especially someone whose addiction is writing, something that does not bring fortune or fame or money or any of the trappings or wares of what it means to be successful. Someone addicted to those things and letting the rest of their life slip away from them. Probably that's sad. But it need not be simply about writers. I ask you this: do we all have some meta community to which we belong? Is there some aspect to our lives, the hidden depths of which tempt us? And these depths that we might, into which we may fall, into which we may disappear, from which we may never be reclaimed, these depths, are they worth it? How much of your, what is there? There's gaming. People throw their lives away with gaming all the time. There's working out. People throw away their lives with working out all the time. There's writing. People throw away their lives to writing, to literature, to reading all the time. Are those missing aspects of life worth the investment that these individuals poured into their writing, their gaming, their reading, their working out? I don't know. But for the sake of fairness, let's ask the opposite question. I believe it was Martin Luther King Jr. who said, "A man who has nothing for which he would die is not fit to live." It's pretty powerful. Nietzsche said, if I have a why, I can endure anyhow. If I know my why, I can endure any how. The how doesn't matter, the why is there. I will endure. These things being true, take, for example, the struggle in this very poem. The writers, hoping to write their very soul, hoping to pour their very soul into the ink that creates a poem. Sort of melodramatic, okay, I understand. But that's what's going on there. Melodrama or not. That being true, the pursuit of pure expression, the pursuit perhaps of the sublimation when water turns straight from ice to steam without passing through the liquid phase, the sublimation of art to soul. Is that pursuit through writing worth it to miss all of the quote unquote normal stuff we're expected to experience in our ride through living? What would you forsake? What would you forsake for that one pure thing? What would you sacrifice for whatever truth means to you? I died for beauty, but was scarce adjusted in the tomb when one who died for truth was lain in an adjoining room. He questioned softly why I failed. For beauty, I replied, and I for truth. The two are one. As Emily Dickinson reminds us, truth and beauty are one. What is true to you and what is expected from you, of you, for you. On some level, I think in today's society especially, we are expected the college experience. You've got to go to college. Otherwise, XYZ. You know these things in life that we are supposed to do. If you don't go to college, you can't get a career. Well, who says I want a career? Would you sacrifice college for whatever it is that you find true and beautiful? I went to college for what I find true and beautiful, literature. Probably I should not have. If I had had the discipline in my normal life to have skipped college, but still received those lessons somehow, I think I probably would have rather done that. This community here. Let's read the poem one more time. A good gang, after all. I keep hearing from the old dogs, men who have been writing for decades, poets, all. They're still at their typers, writing better than ever past wives and wars and jobs and all the things that happen. Many I disliked for personal and artistic reasons. But what I overlooked was their endurance and their ability to improve. These old dogs, living in smoky rooms, pouring the bottle. They lash against the typer ribbons. They came to fight. Did you? That is all I have for this poetry discussion. I have poetry discussions every Monday. On Monday, we have poetry. And it would really mean a lot to me. I am hoping to hit 1,000 subscribers this year on my personal channel, a link to which can be found in the description below. Go over there, give me a follow if you dare, and I hope to have you back for the next poetry discussion. When? On Monday.